Hi, everyone. We're getting to the end of week one. We only have a couple more days. Remember, each week ends on Sunday night normally, unless we have a break, which can disrupt our usual schedule. Just pointing to the outcomes once more so you can see that you really did learn something this week. We talked about the difference between practice doctorates and research focused doctorates. I have a PhD. That's a research focused doctorate. I'm not always going to be as focused on clinical practice in doing research as a PhD prepared person versus someone with a doctorate in nursing science or a DNP. So you are earning a degree that's very clinically or practice focused, so your research will be that way as well. Quite honestly, though, I can share with you that I tend to be very interested in practice issues myself as I take students into clinical settings, all kinds of clinical settings, and see many of the deficiencies, if you will, in the care that's provided. So you've talked online about some ideas that you have some for research projects. Certainly, you're going to focus on a research project in this course. It doesn't have to be the research project that you focus on in the program, but it does make sense, doesn't it? Because it'll save you time if you begin working on the parts of your research project now while being in Nurse 808 and learning important research concepts. Just as a side, I was very impressed with the discussion board this week and your introductions. You are all very accomplished professionals and scholars, if you will. I mean, some of you really are already doing certain types of quality improvement research in your practice, whether it's in a business atmosphere as a manager and director or in an education setting. So I think it would be fun as we move on from week one to share everything that we know about our area of practice because it will be very eye-opening to the rest of us. Hopefully you got a handle on some of the types of research projects that can be done. They could be policy oriented, practice oriented, projects that enhance our nursing profession or deal with public health issues. We did share some problems such as inadequate nursing staff numbers, not having proper education for nurses, health concerns as well. And finally, one of our outcomes that we didn't discuss as much on the discussion board relates to the importance of learning how to critique research studies. So make sure that you're developing some sort of system as you start collecting research. And when I went to school, I was taught to use a form that I just stapled on the front of each research study that looked at many of the elements that we talked about this week: the title, the design of the study, the sample that was used, the data analysis, the findings, even the theory that the researchers drew upon, etc. So if you quickly identify those items, and certainly we can see a lot of those just by looking at the abstract, it will help you down the road when you're looking. For example, you might decide on focusing on theory. You can just look at each article very quickly and see what types of theories they drew upon. So think about that. Think about also something that we didn't talk about as much, developing a filing system or organization to identifying articles. For me, it was rather simple. I actually copied them all off because I like paper and I put them in different files. Sometimes I copied an article twice because I liked the theory and how it was written in one article, but I also liked the design and the topical area, so I put it in another file as well. So think about how you're going to do that. It'll help you in the end. Our assignments were minimal this first week. You had 2 discussion board posts that you were responsible for. One is just an introduction so that we can get to know each other. And you did a fine job of that. The second was a graded assignment. And that's answering a question that I posted for all of you. These questions are designed to try to get you to apply the content each week. And remember, this is a time to show what you know and what you learned throughout the week. These aren't just usual casual discussions. These are scholarly discussions. I don't think you need to be told that, though, because y'all did a really wonderful job. You're very scholarly. And when I say the word scholarly, I mean not just giving your gut responses, but drawing in research that you've acquired or even readings that you've read throughout the week. So next week, we're going to talk about formulating a researchable research question. And this actually helps to form the basis for the management of the whole research project and the focus and the direction. So developing a research question is not easy. You will find that you're struggling with what variables you want to focus on. So if you find you're struggling, that is perfectly normal. And it often takes a couple weeks to isolate the variables of interest for you. It does help to look through some related articles to see how others have have chosen to focus on your research topic of interest. All right, everyone. Well, best wishes, and I'll see you in week 2 very soon. Not yet, but soon.